We're here at Beragh, outside the Beragh Cornerstone building. So I have been the creative facilitator for my group on the Art of Life programme, and this one has been called Creative Conversations and Connection. In this rural part of Tyrone, and in my experience of going to many wakes and death in my own family and friends, you know, it just hasn't been something that people talked about or wanted to talk about. And I was getting sort of palpitations, thinking, how am I going to raise this subject with these people? Maybe they won't want to even talk about it. But anyway, I started, and I have to say the first session was very difficult, because we were establishing ground rules. I was clarifying what we'd be covering, and I told exactly what we were covering about planning for death, and about, you know, looking at different aspects of death and dying, and maybe legacy came into it. But if, you know, there was these different aspects, and you could just see there was really no feedback, visually or verbally. They all went very quiet.
But they came back.
Oh, they came back, and we did an art piece at the end of that. We did a lovely creative, I think it might have been jelly printing or something, which they all immersed themselves in and loved. And I actually didn't know if they would come back, but they did. And they kept coming. And I think what happened, once we got into a wee bit of a groove, you know, like we had a space for the chairs in the circle where we would all sit, and that's where the discussions and the questions would happen. The sharing of ideas, the sharing of opinions, or, you know, about experiences around death. And then we would have our tea, and always lovely cakes and buns. And then after that, it was over to the art table. And each week we did a different type of art that also brought in aspects of death and dying through maybe quotations, famous quotations, and about life. And we did acrostics, so they all wrote a poem about life and the journey of life, and we used the river, which is the logo of the Art of Life, and we used that as inspiration for a poem. So I think it was to do with some people had to share that they were very reluctant and maybe scared and didn't want to do it. But then when someone else would say, well, actually, you know, I'm not a bit afraid about it. I'm 89 now, and I'm not scared of death at all. And then this other woman then, who was maybe 75, going, really? And then she was, so they made impressions on each other. And then that made people ask more questions, pursue things, and even change their minds. But as the sessions progressed and became more meaningful and tied into the themes that we were doing, they were really exploring expressively how they could express something that maybe they couldn't verbally express, like doing drawings, or, you know, making colours, marks, images that might maybe say more about what they want to say than they had the words for themselves. And it was just so interesting as a facilitator to think of ways of sort of delivering things so as a subject that might be difficult, but in a way that's very creative and relevant. And then you just see the eyes go, yes, they've got it, you know. But it takes quite a bit of preparation on my part to know the group, and then to take them gently down that path that's difficult for some of them, very difficult. But once they're on it, and the other women are going with them, and I'm there, it's fine. I have found that having worked with many organisations, and, you know, statutory, non-statutory and stuff, I have found this is one of the best that I've ever worked with. For a variety of reasons. We had training. We had lovely training days, which was relevant training. Met other creatives, and that just set me up so amazingly to meet other people who were thinking about Art of Life and about how to be creative with these subjects, and we were able to do it together. And I made some good friends through that, and we've kept the connections. But also, I felt that my professionalism and my experience was respected. Very much. Nobody was tapping you on the shoulder and saying, how's this, and have you got this, and what time did you get in? You were independently doing and trusted to do what we said we would do. And then being down in Cavan, and really having never been there before, I've fallen in love with the place. I've been a couple of times since. I just love it.